Hey, what's up? I'm Eric.
I'm Ken.
And we're from Cinema 4 Productions.
Hey.
Today we got a short video for you just to kind of outline the Nebula 4000 light and why it actually is a good purchase for the money, and also why a lot of people are returning it. I picked it up for steal of a deal on Craigslist. Little kitty's jingling around over there, but that's all good.
We'll bring the little guy up later on.
Yeah, so I got for a steal of a deal as a smaller stabilizer to replace the Ronin in smaller gigs. When I got it from the guy, he had absolutely zero idea what was going on with it. It was like, he literally was just all over the place. I'm pretty sure he thought it was broken and he was ripping me off. But I was able to tune it a little bit, tune it some more, made it to a couple different cameras and found that the in-body stabilization of the A7R Mark II fixes all the little imperfections of the Nebula 4000. But what we'll do right now, I guess, is we'll go ahead and mount it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You want to talk about how you modify it a little bit?
Yeah, we'll get it on there first, and then I guess we'll talk about what it comes with. Actually, comes with this case. It's like a fake Pelican case that is like. Yeah, it's pretty
nice.
Pretty lame though. You can't really, if you buy the battery pack that comes with it, you can't actually get the battery in there.
Battery pack is this guy, right?
Yeah, the battery on the bottom. And it's almost impossible to close. It doesn't really close properly, so you're gonna want to just throw it in a bag probably or something else and put that on the shelf. But from everything I've tested so far, the internal battery lasts around close to an hour or so. I haven't exactly fully drained it, but when I got it, the guy actually didn't have enough battery for it to work and stabilize properly, and I think that's why he thought it was partially broken.
Was it like loading and then stop loading?
It was going like, but let me just show you how we got it going right now.
So have you thought about like mounting it on a quick release plate, or is it just you just want to leave it to be like exactly like this?
This camera itself, or this gimbal itself, can't handle the size. It won't be able to handle the weight of a quick release plate.
Right. And
the added, to put on like a Serious Manfrotto, what is it, 502 whatever plate, it just won't handle it. It's basically, this is close to the max, which is an A7R Mark II. And 28 F2, which weight comes in, I believe, at around 800 grams in total. So now, hold on, it's a lot easier when I actually have the handle grip that I added to it.
So this handle grip, I believe, is from, what is it called, P&C Gear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So check that out. We're going to put a link to where you can purchase it on the bottom. Probably around here somewhere.
So balancing this thing was tricky the first time. So basically, once you get your configuration balanced and set properly, that's the setup you're going to want to use. This isn't like a Ronin or other, maybe even the Came single, where you can probably change lenses and quickly adjust. This is the setup that stays on here. It lives on here. Basically, if I want to use anything else, I'm going to my Ronin. But because of the A7R full frame and Super 35 crop, I get 28 mil and 42 mil. Is that right?
Do you have digital zoom on the A7R Mark II also?
You do, yeah. You can go even further. You can go basically push it to an 84 mil.
Oh, nice. So you have a little bit more like freedom to work around, especially if you're working in good lights.
Yeah. So here we have it basically balanced. The one thing you'll notice with mine, I don't know if you can see that from here, is I actually had to add weight to the back because with the yaw axis, there's only 3 positions you can actually set it in. There's these 6 screws, 3 on either side, that screw into mounts inside, but unfortunately there's only 3 positions. So if your camera weighs in between those perfect balance points, you have to add weight to the front or back.
Oh, okay. And you can't just tune or like move it back and forth.
You
or is
can't.
it too,
You
too Mickey
basically.
Mousey?
You can't.
That's it.
No, there's on the yaw axis. There's only 3
Oh,
positions.
okay.
So you're stuck with either a really light setup, this setup, or. And I had to add 2, as you see, 3 long bolts added with the nuts and the washers to make it basically just about perfect. So right now let me go ahead and flip it on here.
Yeah.
And
See if it works or how well it works.
Yeah, see, and the other thing with these motors is they're not smooth. You can actually feel where every single what are they called again? I can't remember the name right now.
The tuning of it or
Poles. You can feel the poles,
it's
so
like,
it grabs.
It's like dragging it,
Each
right?
one grabs. So there we go. It's on
Oh.
right now.
Nice.
She's a stable.
Hello.
I can feel a slight vibration,
Yeah.
but which is fine.
How big of a movement can you do before it?
Gets a little wonky.
Yeah.
All
I
depends.
see it right there.
Yeah, see, it starts to lean just a touch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're looking for that perfectly level horizon, 24/7 without touching it, this is not it. It just corrected itself now.
Right.
It'll come back. It also depends on how you start it. If you were to grab it and leave it like that now,
Yeah.
see, it's wigging out. See, it does. If you try to do anything too weird, it'll wig out. But if you can reposition certain things, like so now that's straight to it.
Right. And just kind of follow that position.
Yeah, but if it also gets way too far off, you just hold it and
Right.
set it back. But we've gotten amazing footage so far out of this, paired with the Ronin, running side by side with another guy on this or myself on this, and the footage matches up beautifully.
Nice.
So on the 4K with the in-body stabilization. But let me tell you the software, nightmare.
Oh, is it?
So I had been basically studying that software for about 6 months to a year before I bought my Ronin, because I was thinking about buying the KAME 7800. So it's a nightmare. There's nowhere that really tells you what's going on with it, how it really works. The only guys who can really explain it seem to be really technical guys who don't really shoot. So
Who don't really shoot.
yeah, so
Like not on the field shooting, but more like a technician.
they can tell you like the physics of what it, and electronics of exactly what's happening. But thank goodness for what's his name, Dave Dugdale,
Dave Dugdale.
and a couple other guys who posted some of their settings, and luckily one of them kind of worked with mine, and I went from there. So I was able to tweak it some more, and right now it's at a really great spot. But what we did was add some handles to it. Basically, we mounted the battery on the bottom.
Without the battery, how long of a charge time, or not charge time, but how long of run time do you have?
I'd say it's longer than one Sony A7 battery. So that's it's not incredible. It's not anything to brag about.
Right.
But I actually haven't drained it completely, so I can't tell
Okay.
you exact specs.
Okay. But that basically increases you can run a whole day of a wedding on the combination of the two.
Haven't run a wedding yet, but we'll try it out.
Okay.
It's definitely no Ronin where you're going to get 8 to 10 hours on a single battery. But basically the way this works is you're not actually feeding power off of this, you're actually charging the internal battery off of this.
Nice.
So you could, in theory, get any battery that's the same voltage and do that up.
Is it it's not a proprietary adapter either.
No, that's just a splitter that,
What kind of splitter is that?
it's a DC, just male to dual female
Okay.
splitter.
So pretty easy if you want to try to find accessories. online.
So basically I have just,
There you go.
there we go,
Almost there.
crank it on.
Yeah. Nice.
Let's see, plug in the power.
So this is basically a regular P&C cage that's just kind of
Been stripped apart.
Do you flip it around or do you like? Just...
I flipped it around. I believe this is the top part of the cage.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
because the bottom would have the plate and the mount and everything.
yeah, I moved the battery forward and added a couple feet on the bottom to add like a good solid footing for when you want to just put it down on the ground, right?
Right.
Because the problem with these things is, you know, you can't really rest it on a table for very long with and expect someone not to hit it and knock it over, right? So, but with these handles, I can one-hand it.
Nice.
You want to give it a hold?
Yeah.
You can hold that all day, right?
Well, probably for like a little while.
I can hold that all day, man. All day. Not a problem.
Nice.
And
Yeah, it's doing its job.
yeah, so far so good.
Do you ever find it's a problem to like look through the focus on here?
Yeah, so
Because this is kind of like blocking it a little.
yeah, the setup is, unfortunately, there's a couple of weird quirks about it. To turn off the power and turn on the power, it's on the left side of the body.
It's right there.
Now you need to use your right hand to do that. Basically, if you're on one hand mode, you need to use your right hand to turn it on and off. Well, that's unfortunately the same hand you need to adjust your camera. So it's pretty difficult to actually turn it on and off while holding it with your left hand. Like I can't get my thumb over there or go like this. So you have to kind of learn just little quirks and what works well, right? Unfortunately, you cannot add a follow focus unit. Hell no.
Just too much weight for it, or
Just too much size, too much weight, too much everything.
just throw it off on this way, right?
Yeah.
Or depending whichever way you're mounting it.
It's also not really strong enough to fight a HDMI cable.
Oh, not even that.
So unless you find a super, super fine ribbon cable, but even then, the tilt and the roll motors are smaller than the yaw motor, so I would not suggest it. But maybe we'll include some footage from this.
Yep. We'll cut it from there. You gotta give me some footage from this guy.
But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty stable. I have the follow settings set very similar to how I roll with the Ronin. So pretty slow, very majestic, not very much robotic movement.
Nice.
But for a run and gun style, you just cannot beat the size of this,
Right.
which is actually significantly smaller than the Came TV.
Oh yeah. You're talking about the 7800.
No, the Came TV came single.
Oh, the new one.
The new Came single, which is a lot bigger.
Right.
And heavier.
Do they have one extra motor on there for the Came TV one, or is it the same two?
It's the same 3 motors,
Oh, yeah.
but they have I believe it's not calibrated, the motors that relay the position back to the board. So it's a little smarter.
And also, I think the motor on those guys looks a little bit larger.
It's definitely a lot larger. It can hold a lot more weight.
Right.
I've seen a guy I talked to, he had Tokina 11 to 16
2.8.
Metabones adapter and an A7S on there. So this could definitely not handle that. And he was actually dissatisfied with it though.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
the tuning or like?
Because he had not gone in to tune it, which Came says you cannot do. Voids the warranty.
Oh.
So, but with these, it's a must.
Right.
Tuning is a must.
Cool.
Well, that's about it. That's the Nebula 4000 Lite. The positives and the negatives. And if you can get it for a great deal, it's a great pickup.
Looks on Craigslist. And the cost of the cage isn't that high. And I'm pretty sure you can find some cheaper alternative too.
You could basically slap rods or anything, right?
DIY.
DIY. There you go. All right. Peace out from Cinema 4.